Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the AmandaFest podcast, where our mission is simple. It is to inspire and empower our listeners to take aligned action towards their dream lives, whatever that looks like for you. I am very excited. I know I say this every episode, but I am to have my beautiful soul sister, Emily, here today to talk to us. Emily is so magical. She runs her own business, Mindset with M, as a certified mindset coach, hypnotherapy and EFT tapping practitioner, and a neural energetic encoding and rewiring practitioner. That is quite the mouthful. She works with deep feelers, empaths, and overgivers who are done living their life on repeat and done feeling exhausted and burnt out. She is very, very good at what she does. Before we dive into this juicy conversation, I just want to take a moment for us to drop into our bodies, get present, so that we can all be here in the now and ready to absorb all the amazing wisdom that's about to come from this conversation, because I just feel it's going to be a good one, guys. It's going to be a good one. All right. So wherever you are, whatever you're doing, if it's safe to do so, I invite you to close down your eyes and just slow down for a second. Start noticing your breath. I always like to put a hand on my heart and a hand on my belly, just to get present in my physical body and remember that I'm here. So I want you to just start noticing your breath going in and out, not trying to change it or do anything. Just notice. Maybe on the inhale, start to think about something that you're desiring, that you'd like to call in. You can call this thing in, this energy, this feeling, this emotion. Call it in with your breath. So take a nice deep breath in, filling your belly. Hold it at the top and exhale. As you exhale and let that breath out, I want you to think of something that you're letting go of, something that's stuck in your body that you just don't want to hold on to anymore. So we're going to do a couple of nice cleansing breaths like this. So deep breath in with your intention. And exhale with the release. And again, nice deep breath in with your intention. And exhale, something you want to let go of. Last one, nice deep breath in. And on the exhale, feel free to shake it out, make some noise, let go of anything that no longer serves you. Welcome. Welcome to your bodies. Welcome to the present moment, and welcome to AmandaFest. And welcome, Emily. I'm so happy you're here.
Thanks. I'm so excited.
We were talking a little bit before we hopped on this call, and typically I like to come up with some version of an agenda, right? I like to have a structure. I like to know what we're going to talk about. And I was feeling into this podcast all day today while I was at work, and there's been so much energy swirling in my body as of late. And I just kept getting the download that I really wanted today's episode to just be free flow and whatever it is truly present for us in the here and now. And then right before we hopped onto this podcast, Emily sent me a voice note. And I thought she was going to cancel, but she wasn't. And her voice note was essentially asking that. She was like, hey, I want to talk about this. I want to talk about that. But this just happened. Can we just dive into what's present? And I was like, absolutely, 100%. So yeah, how are you feeling? What's on your heart? What's present for you right now, Emily?
Yeah, I love that we're on the same wavelength. I'm feeling good. I mean, honestly, it's been good to be back in LA. It's been really nice actually, like good smooth transitions. But it's been
Where were you before this?
Well, I was traveling for the past 3 months. So I was in a little bit everywhere. I was in Europe, in Amsterdam, in Berlin, in Paris, and then went home to Michigan for a couple weeks, and then went to Miami for a couple weeks, and then back to LA. So it was a crazy adventure, but very fun.
Amazing. And so you're in the process of what we like to call integrating your experience.
Yes, yes, there's been lots of integrating happening. One of my main messages that I've gotten since I've been back, really, but especially in the last couple weeks, is slow down.
Yeah.
So I've been doing that. It's very easy for me to get excited and, oh my gosh, I'm back in the city. I can go see this person and go to this event and do this. I was so happy. Things have been great, but I needed to sit down and process my feelings because after traveling for 3 months, there's a lot that happened. So I needed time to sit with that. And I'm still integrating, still emotional, but it's a lot better now, I would say. But still more to go for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Feeling your feelings. Brand new for me.
You're getting better though.
We're getting way better. I remember I did a session with you and we were talking about the slowing down. Emily and I are really funny friends. I would call us funny friends because we are like polar opposites from a naked eye distance in terms of the way that we operate. Our natural operation systems are so vastly different. And I think we both have so much to learn, and we have learned so much from each other. And that's why this friendship has been so beautiful. But something that I've loved about our connection, it's something you've shown me just by being, is that I get to slow down and I get to feel my feelings and I don't have to do everything all the time a million miles an hour. But even my version of not doing so much feels like you're like, Amanda, you're doing so much. And I'm like, no, I'm not. For like a normal person, sure. But for me, this is chill.
Yeah. But it does catch up. And I was feeling more like you in the past few months. I was traveling and moving and going and doing and meeting people. And like, it is fun and exciting,
Exhausting.
but exhausting. Yeah. It takes a toll on the physical body as well as the mental and emotional. And like, it catches up. I was at yoga the other day and I was in a headstand and I fell and I fell on my knee. It's fine. It was, it's just a little bruise, but I was disappointed or discouraged. I was like, oh, why did I fall? I've been getting so good at my headstands, da da da. But it was this like, oh, okay, well, now I can't go to practice tomorrow because I hurt
Mm.
myself. And I didn't practice the day before because it was a moon day or something. So I was really excited to get back to it. But uni was like, no, boop. Like, you need to sit and feel your feelings and just relax.
Yeah.
So I did. And it's so interesting, Amanda, because every time I sit and I'll do EFT or I'll do a meditation or even just dance or sing or whatever to just move energy, before I sit down, I've got all these thoughts, all these things, da, 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 and I have all this stuff that I want to do. Like your thing is like, but I want to do everything right now. And I get that way too. And I'm like, okay, I fell, I hurt myself. I'm literally forced to slow down at this point.
Right, right.
And I don't want to repeat any mistakes. So before I'm like in it, all this stuff is coming up. Then I sit, I clear it, I cry, dance, whatever I need to do. And then after, there's this onset of clarity, this like clear mind. And I was writing content and I wrote like 4 different scripts for content.
Yeah.
Like I didn't have
Well,
to think. It was just,
okay, so I want you to, because I know this process because I know you and I also practice some of these things. But can you break this down for a second? For I do want to dive into what EFT is because I feel like there are definitely people that have no idea what that is. But I want to break down a little bit more of even just what you're talking about of this process of you're feeling things, then you have this sounds like this tool belt of options and things, ways in which to move the energy, right?
mm-hmm.
instead of where I think the default mode before you learn all of these things is like you have an intense emotion. Most people are like, okay, I'm feeling a big feeling. I don't want to feel that. So I'm going to stay really busy. I'm going to numb, suppress, avoid, distract. I'm literally going to do anything humanly possible to not feel it. So I'm curious to hear what your advice is for someone who's in that state. How do you go from that to, oh, I have a big feeling. I'm going to healthfully move through that feeling and then arrive at the other side. Like, what does that look like?
Well, definitely practice. You're not,
Yeah.
it's not like that, and obviously feeling an intense emotion like fear or shame, guilt, anger, those are guiding us. They're not bad or wrong. They're actually really important. Um, and the way that I look at emotions now is whenever I feel something that's big, the answer is on the other side of that feeling every time. If you're trying to like do your taxes and say you owe a bunch of money in taxes and you're like, oh shoot, like what am I gonna do? I don't know how to pay this. And then you start freaking out and the fear runs in and all these things. In that state, you're not gonna find the answer and how to find a solution. You're not.
Right.
You're in this
Right.
fear state. And what people do is they either stay in that state or they disassociate or they distract themselves and avoid it. When you avoid things, I know it doesn't work. It doesn't work. And you can try with all your heart to avoid your emotions for as long as you possibly can. But eventually, yeah, Amanda knows.
I was the poster child for not feeling your feelings.
Yeah. But eventually they're just gonna come up again and again and again, and they're gonna fester and they're gonna grow until you can't ignore it anymore. Like when I fell at yoga, like I'm literally forced to stop and slow
Yeah.
down. And
Yeah.
and so I've gotten really good at, for one, being aware of like, oh, something's coming up. Like I feel it in my heart or my stomach. Like I feel this flutter or drop or pressure. Like there's something I'm not feeling. Like noticing just like even physical feelings
Mhm.
of the emotion, and also knowing like, oh, if I feel fear, that doesn't mean I'm going to be fear. Like
Yeah, that's a big one.
I think that's why people avoid a lot of the time is like, oh, I'm admitting to the universe that I'm scared or that I'm bad or that I'm wrong or shameful. Like that means that I'm going to attract that or that I am that. And I've been guilty of that too. I'm like, no, positive all the time, no negative thoughts. And obviously it's important to be positive as much as you can, but if you're feeling something, your body and your mind need to be on the same page, not your mind going, oh my God, and your heart's like, are we about to die? Are we about to get eaten? I'm freaking out, but I don't necessarily know why. But knowing that when I feel emotion, emotion is energy in motion. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. So if you try to ignore all your emotions, they don't go anywhere. It's not like they just disappear, right? So,
Yeah, and they manifest in different ways as well. Like I know for myself, my suppression of emotion for all of the time that I suppress my emotion manifested in like chronic physical pain. And so my neck and shoulders and back are like, and I'm still working through that even now that I'm tapped online and I'm feeling my feelings. And I know that because of my work with plant medicine, which we'll dive into as well. But I'm very hyper aware of how it didn't just go away. I stored it in my fascia.
mhm, yeah, your body has
All of it,
memory.
all of it.
Yep, it will remember everything. Your subconscious, your body, it will remember and take toll on everything. But when you feel the emotion and the energy, even if it is scary to feel or hurtful or painful, you're gaining energy. Our bodies are literally a conduit. That's why it feels so good to cry, because even if you're sad or depressed or upset, when you cry, it literally releases this energy, this emotion, and you feel cathartic after. And you're like,
Yeah.
oh, you might still be sad. Doesn't mean it goes away completely, but you're like, oh, I feel so much better. Oh, well, at least now I can go do what I need to do or take care of myself or go take a bath, like do something for myself. And the other thing, it makes it so much easier for me to feel the negative emotions
Mhm.
because I'm gaining energy in that moment and I'm gaining power. And I'm also going to be clear on the other side. You have to move through it. That's the only way. And the only way to clear these really ingrained patterns, deep emotional blocks is to let your body feel it, change the perception, and let it go. Your body has to let it leave.
For those who are listening and not watching, Emily did air quotes
Um,
on the negative. No, but I think that's really important because negative is a judgment of an experience, right? Like you said, feeling fear, feeling sadness, feeling hurt, feeling angry, those aren't inherently negative emotions. Those aren't bad emotions. If we're calling them negative or bad, that's just our own judgment of the experience. Whereas if you think of it of just, it's, I'm a human and I'm feeling things. And for me, I'm like, it's very funny. And you've seen me do this where because I'm newly tapped online, and I guess I can't even say newly because it's been a couple of years now, but new in the grand scheme of my whole life. But I laugh, like, whenever I feel a big feeling, I start cracking up, and I'm like, "Oh my god, I'm feeling things. Whoa, amazing." Because for so long, I didn't allow myself access to feel things like that, and so it's cool once you start tapping in and playing with it, and it's like, it's Pandora's box, right? Like, you can't close it once you've opened it, but it's better on the other side.
yeah. But like it really every time like I get downloads, I get clarity. And it's also like you've been on this new feeling journey for 2 years now, and you're still like, yeah, it's still new for me. There are times when I forget that I haven't been feeling or that I haven't been like, not to
Right.
say you have to dig. I think some people get stuck in like, oh, let me bring up every childhood trauma I've ever had, continue to dig and dig and dig and dig. And it's like,
You don't need to live in it.
you don't need to suffer.
Yeah.
You don't
Yeah.
accept it, accept those things happen. But the way you're going to be able to move forward is by accepting that that's a part of you. It's not the whole thing. And you can still love that part of you that gets scared
Right.
or gets shameful or whatever. But it's really slowing down and also being with yourself and honest with yourself. Like, how am I actually feeling? What's coming up for me in this moment? And not one thing I was going to mention earlier when some people like, if they get cheated on or they get broken up with or someone pisses them off in traffic or whatever, one of our first instincts is to like call our friend and talk about it and be like, oh my god, I can't believe this person just da da da. I would say if you're upset about something, before you go and call someone, sit with it.
Yeah, yeah. I talked about this on my last episode. This was when I started working with JJ, who does mindset coaching. During that month, I had a moment where I got in a fight with my mom on the phone, and I was very frustrated, and I hung up the phone, and I immediately picked up my phone and opened up the Instagram app, and I caught myself doing it. And I was like, why? If anyone's taking anything away from this, I think it's just bringing awareness to what do you go and grab when you want to suppress or void or numb an emotion. Is it your phone? Is it Instagram? Are you grabbing a glass of wine? Is it smoking a joint? I remember I used to get so frustrated at the end of the workday, and he meant it with so much love. But one of my old bosses used to say, oh, great work, Amanda. Go home and have a glass of wine. Go home and have a drink. You deserved it. You had a hard day. And I remember being like, well, I don't really drink. And then he realized that I like to smoke. So then he started saying, oh, go home and smoke a joint. But like, as if I needed to go smoke a joint or have a glass of wine in order to process the stress of the day,
Mm-hmm.
which so many people do. And I actually was thinking recently, I got dinner with my old college roommate, and we were talking about how much wine we used to drink in college. And I didn't even I never liked drinking. This is the thing. But I thought that You see it in the movies where adults have their glass of wine. Like, it's cool, it's sexy. In my mind, I was like, oh, this is what grown-ups do. They have a glass of wine at the end of the day, and they always have wine in the house. And when their friends come over, they offer them wine. Like, I was like playing a game in my head. Like, it had nothing to do with wine. I just thought you were supposed, but we were thinking about it, and we were just like, why? Like, why did we do that? And it was unconscious. We weren't even aware of how we were using it
Mm-hmm.
as a way to, oh, we had a hard day at school. Let's pour ourselves a glass of wine. And granted, if that's your vice, incredible, but be very aware that it's a vice. And the work that I do is inviting people to just play around with the idea that if you're choosing it, fine, but know that you don't need it. Know that it's a conscious choice that you're making, but it's not an unconscious behavior that you're just in repetition with, right?
Right. Yeah. The awareness. I mean, that's that split second of when you caught yourself going straight to your phone after you had a conversation with your mom, you're frustrated. That is where change is made. That split second of like, oh, ooh, I'm doing
That's,
the thing.
I was like, ooh, that's what I do. Ooh, interesting.
Yeah. And also observing without judgment at first.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, I went to my phone again. I'm so bad. That doesn't help. But just noticing, like, oh, okay, I tend to reach for my phone when I'm really sad, or if I have a hard day, I want to smoke a joint, or I want to have a glass of wine. Okay, that's what I do. Cool. It's not bad or wrong. It's just noticing those things. And even myself, I'll hear whispers of thoughts like, you could just go on TikTok right now and watch a few videos just to entertain yourself. And I'm like, I don't need to. I literally have in
Yeah.
transition of like going from one place to the other. I don't need to go watch TikTok. No, creating boundaries around those vices and just being really aware and intentional with them, because we're human. Like, sometimes I want to scroll on my phone. That's okay. It's not a bad thing, but if it's constant distraction and constant disassociating and, oh, I'm just going to go here because it feels better, just know you can do that, but it's a temporary fix, and
Mm-hmm.
those
Mm-hmm.
emotions, those thoughts aren't going to go away until you face
Amen. Amen, sister. Well, on that topic, let's talk plant medicine for a second.
them. Oh, okay.
So, Emily and I, and Clarissa, who was my first guest on my very first podcast episode, we have this really super unique, the more I think about it and the more that I talk to other people about it. So, we all three of us are on the plant medicine path. And by fate, chance, I don't know, the universe just gifted us to each other at the perfect time. And we have all sat with a variety of medicines and participated in a variety of plant medicine ceremonies together, like probably like 5 or 6 different ceremonies, but a handful of different medicines,
Mhm.
which is very special for those who aren't in this space. Sitting with a plant medicine means that you're going and having an intentional experience with a particular medicine. You're not taking a drug or you're not doing it. It's a very intentional experience. And these experiences are really life changing. The most life changing part of these experiences is the integration of them. Is you get all of these lessons, you get all these downloads, you have all these realizations, and then you get to take those, integrate those into your life, and figure out how to make big shifts and radical changes based on the new information that you've received. Now, for most people, they go through these ceremonies and then they're kind of on their own to figure it out. And while, yes, all three of us are extremely independent and individual and doing our own thing, we're really lucky that we get to independently figure it out alongside each other as we navigate from medicine to medicine, from ceremony to ceremony. And we have a really big one coming up. A really big one coming up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so we're all going to sit with ayahuasca
Ooh.
in October for my 30th birthday, but also for life. Do you want to tell the story of how we manifested that in 12 hours? I mean, that is
Yeah,
actually the craziest thing of all time.
that was so cool. Yeah, whenever we're all together, it's like we're very very powerful, and when we set intentions, they manifest very quickly. Apparently,
12 hours. I like for real went back and counted, and it was exactly 12 hours to like exactly.
wow. We were just messaging each other, and Amanda was saying like, "Oh, I want to do something for my birthday. I think I want to sit with ayahuasca." Blah blah blah. And we're like, "Yeah, that'd be great. Let's keep your ears and eyes open. I'm sure we know people. We'll find something." And then the next day, I get a message in my Kambo tribe community from my Kambo teachers, and they're like, "Oh yeah, Renee is serving ayahuasca. So in October, if y'all are interested, let us know." And me and Clarissa are like, "Yeah, we're interested. Would really like to do that." And I was just like, "Okay, well that's perfect because it's in California. It's with someone that I know, love, and trust. We're all available at that time." It was just like boom, 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 boom. I think we were the first three to actually like
Say
pay,
yes.
get on the list. We're here. We're ready to go. So that just, yeah, that was very magical. It just felt very meant to be.
Well, and as we were texting, we got pretty specific with the text messages. All three of us were very clear. We were like, yes, our intention is to do this together. We got pretty specific on what we were looking for. We were like, the facilitator is the number one requirement. We'd like to do it in a spiritually special place. Here are the dates that we're looking for. We set out a handful of parameters, and this checked all of those boxes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we're gonna be in Mount Shasta, so that's just even more
Ah.
magical. Um, so yeah, it's very cool when you're doing the work with people, like the three of us. It's so special that we've sat in so much ceremony together and then been able to integrate, because there's so many times that I'm just like, "Hey, you guys okay? Cause I'm not."
I'm not okay.
Or like
I'm not okay.
can we get on a call? Cause I really want to drop in with you. And just like I know for myself, and I think you can agree, Amanda, community has really just in support, like a supportive, loving community space where you can show up as is and just be held and seen. Like, no matter if that's with two other people, one other person, yourself, with 1,000 other people, it's so important. And I think society today, I guess, is we're starting to become more aware, but also it's so much focus on separation. And even like,
Yeah,
"Oh, I'm independent. Oh, I can do it all on my own." Like, I can, but like, why would I
you don't
want
need
to?
to. Yeah, that was a really big lesson for me at the beginning of my journey. I remember the first time we sat with ceremony, I went to ecstatic dance 2 days later, and I was, like, shook. I was me, I am a little social butterfly, and I'm always like, "Ah," and that's how I've always shown up outwardly to people. But what people don't know and don't see and never saw was the other side of me, which is like I go into hermit mode and I go into retreat mode. When I'm social, I'm 100% on, but when I'm not, I'm not. And I used to never feel comfortable being the other version of myself in front of people because I felt like I had to uphold this certain expectation of what people wanted from me, right? They wanted fun, bubbly, silly, playful Amanda. And I remember that day at dance, I was not good, but I also didn't want to be alone. I wanted to be with people that I loved, and I wanted to be in community, and I wanted to go outside, and I wanted to dance. So I went to dance, and I remember do you know Ashley?
Ashley Stoffer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's a little bit further along on the path than I was at the time. Maybe we've caught up to each other. I don't know. But I remember she saw me. sitting, and she just looked at me and we had this telepathic conversation, like, I swear, where she was just like, "Mhm, yeah." And she
Your
came up
face.
and she knew that I was, like, in a process, and she saw me and, like, just gave me a look like, "I see you, I get it, and I love you." That was the look, and then she came over to me and we were talking about it. I remember I asked her, I was like, "Do you ever heal? Like, are you ever done?" And she just me as, like, the sweet little, like, I don't know, what was I, 26 at the time? I was like, "What now?" And she was like, "Ha ha ha, no, you don't." She was like, "No, sweetie pie, you don't, because you just keep going deeper. It's layers and layers and layers." And to your point, like you said earlier, it doesn't all have to be doom and gloom. Your whole personality doesn't have to be about healing. You don't have to be like, "Oh, I'm in my trauma, this and that." Like, you get to play and have fun and be light and all of the things, and continue every single day to show up. And when your shit shows up, look at it, deal with it.
Yeah, as soon as possible, like you might as well, because it's going to be there no matter what, and ignoring it, pushing it away just so it doesn't work anymore. Especially now, it won't get you to where you want to be. So you might as well just feel it and then go, "Oh, wait, that wasn't that bad. Okay, I'm okay."
So what are some of your favorite ways to do that? What's in your tool belt of, I'm feeling a feeling, I want to move through it? What are some things that people could do?
I mean, there are so many things, and I think it's important to know that everybody is different and everybody has different needs and enjoys different things. Like, some people might love to sing and dance as their somatic release, and other people might hate that. Like,
Yeah.
it's not one size fits all. But for me, I know I brought it up earlier with the EFT tapping. That's probably my
What it
number.
what is that?
EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Technique. So you're literally tapping on the pressure points in your body. It's based on Chinese medicine, acupuncture. So they're basically little buttons on your body that release emotion, and it gets you in touch with your natural electric flow. Like, your heart beats on its own. You don't need to tell it to do that. You have electricity in your body, and it gets you in touch with your body. So you're not so much in your mind. It creates a mind heart connection. Like, remember I said earlier, the mind's going crazy and the heart's like, I have no idea what's going on. This brings all that down into the body. So the body goes, oh, okay, we're stressed. Okay, I understand that. Let me feel that, process it, let it go.
Mm.
And it's really, really powerful for, like, wringing out those big feelings and getting to the root of what you're actually feeling. Like, maybe you don't know what you're feeling, you just feel crazy. Been there many times. And so I'll just sit and be like, I'm almost speaking out loud, and I'm like, I feel crazy right now. I don't know what I'm feeling. I'm just frustrated. Blah, blah, blah. And I can just be almost like talking to myself as I'm speaking. The clarity kind of comes in. I'm like, oh wait, I'm sad. Oh, I miss my friends. Oh, that reminds me of, this issue that I had. Okay, that's coming up. Cool. Let me process that, give myself a little love, release it. But the other cool thing about EFT, it's not just for releasing, it's also uploading emotion as well. Once you create that space,
Mm.
you've let go of the fear, the shame, the guilt, whatever. Now it's like, oh, okay, I feel so much better. So now I want to feel energized. I want to feel confident. I want to feel trusting in my intuition. I'm going to tap that in. And you can literally
Mm.
tap those things into your body, and it gives you like a little boost. I'm working with a teacher right now, or she was in a teacher for many, many years, and now she's in administration. And it was the first week of school. She was really stressed out, and we did an EFT session. And after we were done doing 2 rounds of the negative releasing and then 1 round of the positive, she felt zero stress.
Wow.
And she was like, wow, I feel like I just had a glass of wine. Like, I feel relaxed. And I'm like, see,
Mm.
you didn't need that glass of wine. Again, nothing wrong with with having one, but you didn't need that to decompress, because really what,
Right.
especially alcohol, it's a band-aid.
You're not processing it. You're not moving through it.
No,
You're just
you're just
shutting it off for a minute.
to the side. And sometimes, you know what? Sometimes you do have to put your emotions to the side for a little bit. That happens. But when they start piling up, you need to make that time and space to process them.
Totally.
So yeah, EFT is like number one, I would say, for myself to process and clear emotion. But there's I mean, yoga probably up there as well. Yoga, dance, humming, singing,
Mm.
screaming into a pillow. Uh,
I'm a big It's so funny because I have done that my whole life. I've always made noises, and people used to make fun of me all the time. I didn't care. I didn't think it was weird. But even now, like, I'll get called out on it. And now I know what I'm doing. So now when I make those noises, I'm aware I'm releasing emotion. Whatever I'm holding on to, I'm just letting it go.
mhm.
But people used to just be like, Amanda, why do you always make those noises? Like, why are you always
I'm
like moaning
feeling.
and like
I'm just trying to feel my feelings.
it's funny too. My dad, he huffs and puffs a lot. Like he's always like, and my mom is just like, "What's wrong with him?" And I was like, "He's feeling his feelings, mom. Let him feel his feelings." I was like, "He's moving through energy. Good job, dad. Congratulations.
More
Way to
deep,
go."
more exhales.
I was like, so long as he's not, sometimes he's doing it for attention. Sometimes he's like, and like, are you gonna ask me what's wrong? Like, and I'm like, no, 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 that's not it.
Right, right. There's a fine line. But like, yeah, whatever works for you. There's so many tools. I know also writing, like if there's a lot going on in my mind, I just write it down. Or if I'm like, oh, I have to do this, I have to do that. Oh, how am I going to make this work? Write it down. Like that is a
Mhm.
magical process. There's a transitional phase of when it's still like scary. You're like, ooh, ooh, fear, ooh, yeah, I don't want to. No, I'm going to look at my phone instead. No, I don't want to feel that. Or like that ex is coming up. Why? I literally despise this person. Like, why do I have to think about them right now? I get it, but there's a time and place for everything, and it becomes a lot easier the more you just push through the mind, the noise, the thoughts. Why are we doing this? This is weird. I feel awkward, blah, 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 blah. Whatever. Like, that is your ego trying to pull you back. Go, no, no, no. Like, please stay small. Please stay the old version of self, because we're really comfortable with that. And change is
Yeah.
not comfortable. So,
Yeah, no, it's not. But, once you've committed to that path and you're like, all right, I'm doing it, we're doing it. My sister asked me the other day, I had just gotten off a phone call with Shay. This is, what day is it? Are we on Tuesday right now?
yes,
This was yesterday. This is yesterday. Why do I feel like this was a year ago?
time is.
I had a phone call with one of our facilitators that's going to be serving us ayahuasca in October, just to talk about the process and any questions that might come up, and sort of like a pre-integration preparation conversation. And it brought up a lot for me. It's been bringing up a lot even since the moment in which we said yes to the medicine. They say that the moment you say yes to the medicine starts working. And
Yep.
I talk about feeling, dude. I am so sensitive to everything. My whole body is tingling, and I'm scared, and I'm like, there's just all of this energy. And that conversation yesterday really activated me. And then my sister called me right after. I haven't talked to her in a week, so I was trying to hold a conversation with her, but I really couldn't. But, she was like, "Oh, what's going on with you?" And I was like, "Yeah." I told her about the call, and she was like, "Oh, why are you sitting with ayahuasca? Like, what made you want to say yes to that?" And I was like, for me, it doesn't feel like a choice. And this is how I know when I'm on path. with everything. This is what I wrote my college essays about why I wanted to go to school for theater. It was like, "Why do you wanna go to school for theater?" And I was like, "Because it doesn't feel like a choice." Because it feels like if it was a choice, logically, like, no, like, that's a hard career, like, you shouldn't go into that. But I was like, it feels inevitable. It feels like this is what I'm supposed to do. There is no logical explanation around it, and I think with ayahuasca, I feel similarly that I'm terrified and I'm scared and I have like there's so much emotion coming up. But if you ask me why I'm sitting with it, because I'm supposed to. And not because I feel external pressure from someone else that I'm supposed to. Like I know in my soul this is my path and it's time for me to do this whether ready or not. Like I'm never going to feel ready, you know? And it's a knowing. There's no question mark, there's no should I don't know. Even in the fear, even in the uncertainty and all of that, I'm like, yeah, but I still know here we grow.
I know it's meant to be. Yeah.
That's a hard thing to explain because it sounds a little crazy.
I mean, sitting with ayahuasca in itself is a little out there, you know? I know a lot of people have done it, obviously, and had beautiful experiences, and I'm really excited to see what happens. Yeah, of course there's fear and emotion that comes up, but I just know how much we've prepared
Yeah.
and that we have each other, and this is just the most perfect setting, people, place, and time. So it's all just so perfect that you're right. Like it's not really a choice at this point. I mean,
No.
it's definitely been calling for a while though. It's not like we just decided yesterday, like, oh yeah, let's do that, you know? Like
No, it's been and we really truly have been you're so right in preparation for this for so long. I think that all of the work that we've been doing and everyone's path is different, but I love the way we've done our path. I love the way we've done it. I love the way that we've all done it separately and individually, but parallel and very similarly.
mhm.
We're all on our own unique path, but we're all extremely aligned in the way we show up to these spaces, in the way that we choose to, the last big ceremony we all did was like a year ago, basically.
Mhm.
And it's like, yeah, it feels scary and big and inevitable.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's not like I'm gonna come out of serum. I mean, I will be a different person, but it's like how you were saying, you know, you get all these answers or these new downloads, or just you see things about yourself that you haven't seen before. So it brings all this stuff up to the surface with really any medicine journey. But the integration piece, and like, yes, I'm gonna be so different from that experience. Like, I know I'm gonna be changed forever. And I also, if I wanted to, I could choose just to stay the same. I could.
Can you? Can you
I
though?
could. But I mean, obviously, the medicine is gonna like.
I feel like once you know, and that's one of the catch 22s about the healing journey, is once you see and know, you
There's
can't
no going back.
unsee and unknow. Shay and I were talking about because I have a really hard time with visualizations. Like I can't see, I don't see things. Like when people close their eyes and they go through meditations, they can picture and visualize things. I just see black. I don't see anything. And she told me that in my human design, I'm meant to see. That's like a part of my human design is being able to have those visions. And so we were talking about different things. She said that my pineal gland is calcified, which is super woo woo. But we were talking about things that I can do to work on tapping into that. But she was like, fair warning, child. Once you open up the door, you can never go back.
I mean, yeah.
But truly, she was like, here's a list of things that you can tangibly do that can help you tap into that like power, that element, that ability. But she was like, yeah, but once you do that, you're gonna see things all the time, girlfriend.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I'm like, ooh, am I ready to open Pandora's box? Not even just with that, but just with everything. That's what I think was coming up for me. And she made a couple of comments that were nothing crazy, like nothing that I hadn't already thought about, but it was just hearing it back said to me was just like, oh,
Um,
okay, okay, okay.
yeah. I mean, I think going into it, I just feel very unattached. I'm trying to feel, or I'm not saying trying anymore. I am feeling unattached to how it goes because I've heard
Yeah.
10 million different kinds of experiences. I know it will be a beautiful, amazing experience no matter what happens. And I'll learn really, really deep lessons and see things I haven't seen before, feel things maybe I haven't felt before. And I'm excited for that, but I'm not going in, I think,
With an
with any
expectation.
expectation or like this is going to be the ceremony where I open my third eye and all my gifts come to me or whatever. Like I'm just like, all right, doing this. I'm here for it. I know I will
Yeah.
receive what I need. Um, and also the integration piece again, like you can sit with ayahuasca 1,000 times and still not integrate and still not totally. Maybe you see the lesson, you're aware of the block, but you're not
But are you embodying the wisdom?
exactly. Um, and it takes time. It can be sticky. It can be uncomfortable. It can be scary. So again, having people to just be there, support you, talk to, like who have been in that same boat is so magical and powerful, and it creates long lasting bonds.
I know. And that's the thing about our friendships with each other as well. It's like we met in ceremony. I mean, really, we knew each other a little bit outside of it, but we really got to know each other on medicine, like all of us, which is a wild way to build a relationship. I remember the first night I sat in ceremony with Clarissa, I was like, oh my God, I literally feel like I've known you my whole life and I just met you 3 hours ago. Like, who, what? Like, how is this possible? Like, it
Uh,
takes you there.
it does. Medicine is so powerful, and I think it is kind of like a cheat code in a video game. It really does help you enhance your growth and just see things. And sometimes it can be a lot at once or intense, but it helps. It's helped me. I'll speak for myself. It's helped me skyrocket my growth, and
Yeah.
and I know you probably feel the same, obviously, Amanda. But
I'm like a fucking different person.
uh, yeah, and it's not like needed, I would say, but I know it's been very very helpful and very impactful in my life.
I read a book where it's like, listen, you don't need to just sit with plant medicine. Like again, like we're talking about our personal journeys, our experiences. This has been our path. And also I do believe with any plant medicine, not even just ayahuasca, that you have to be called to it, right? It's the type of thing that if you're meant to do it, you know you'll be meant to do it and you'll do it and great and amazing. And I have met many people in my life that have arrived at very similar POVs as we have, that see the world very similarly, that have arrived from different avenues. So it is possible to get to the places that we've gotten to without medicine, but it is a cheat code. It's not cheating. I don't believe it's cheating because I believe that these natural intelligences were placed on this planet for us to utilize.
Absolutely.
And I have no shame in using them. I think that there's many counter arguments that don't believe in it because they don't think that's the right way. I don't believe there's a right way or a wrong way. I think if you choose to do it, great. If you choose not to do it, also great. I think the goal is just, are you arriving at the place in which you are in highest alignment with yourself, of your highest timeline, and in highest good of the greater good, right? I think that there is no one arrival place, but I think that there's an arrival path. Like,
Well, yeah, there's different paths you can take, and some of them are going to be more smooth than others. Some of them are going to be a little bit more bumpy or have some curves,
yeah,
but you'll always get to the end destination. You don't have to rush your healing. You don't have to be like, oh, I need to get to a certain place before I can do XYZ. Like, I have to, no, like, just life is a ceremony, like, just live life and acknowledge where you think you're blocked, your emotions, if things repeat in your life over and over again, like you have the same relationship or the same boss, or you have the same, like, oh, I can never keep a job. Like, look at those patterns and accept that that's
Yeah.
part of it. That's part of it.
Yeah. 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 Oh my God. That piece. That is the fucking piece, man. That's when I started talk therapy because I recognized that I kept calling in the same platonic female friendship partnership over and over and over again, and I'd have this like super close female relationship, and then it would go away, and then I'd get the exact same one, and I with the exact same like, and I was like, okay, I'm the common thread here.
Yeah,
Let's look at this. Or my relationship with men for the longest time, just repeated pattern after pattern after pattern until you pattern interrupt. You need a pattern interrupt. And I think looping this conversation all the way back, if we're going to talk about the process of just getting to a point where you're making radical changes in your life, I think that the steps include it's a buffet. Feeling your feelings, bringing more awareness to your behaviors, and just recognizing what you're doing and how you're doing it. And then I think it's that radical responsibility and ability to take action and make a shift and make a change and choose something different.
exactly. That's it. That 1 second where you notice, oh, I'm doing that thing again, and then you choose, I'm gonna go meditate instead of go on my phone.
Mm.
I'm
Mhm.
gonna
Mhm.
sit with this anger before I call my friend about it. That is growth. Like that little minuscule second and that choice, you just have timelines.
It's so crazy. I was talking to someone last night about patterns. And I was like, the way that patterns have manifested in my life is like you repeat the pattern over and over and over again until you have awareness. Then sometimes you get that awareness, most of the time, depending on what the thing is that the awareness comes and you continue the pattern even with the awareness. For me, I'll speak for myself.
Mm-hmm.
I oftentimes will continue the pattern knowing about the pattern, and now I'm doing the bad, not the bad behavior, but the undesirable behavior with the knowing of what I'm doing. It's not unconscious anymore. I'm very aware of it, but I'm like, still feels good, still gonna do it, don't care. Eventually, the goal, hopefully, you do it enough times with awareness, eventually it stops feeling good.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it stops feeling good, you can stop. There are other ways and paths and things, but I've just found that little cycle repeat over and over and over again. And for me, I attribute that to my head catching up with my heart. Logically, in my head, I'm like, yeah, I'll use an example of connecting with someone, an ex, right? You break up with someone, there's a good reason you don't want to be with them, but then they start texting you and calling you, and it feels good, and you want the attention, and you're like, I'm lonely, I'm not seeing anyone. Okay, sure, I'll text them back. Okay, fine, I'll call them. All right, you know, but I know I don't want to be with them. I know they broke my heart. I know this isn't aligned, but like, I just like the attention. It just feels good.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're like, yeah, this doesn't really feel good anymore. It doesn't this isn't doing it because I know this isn't it. I know this is a distraction. I know that this isn't genuine. I know I'm using this to do, and then you're like, yeah, I'm good. I'm done.
Yeah.
And then you boop, 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 quantum leap.
Yep. And then you're like, wow, I actually don't want that anymore.
Yep.
Like,
That part takes time though. And going back to what you said earlier about having compassion for yourself before you get there,
yeah.
I think is so big because it's so easy to self-deprecate and be so mean to yourself. Like, you know better. I can't believe you're doing this. It's self-sabotaging, blah, blah. And it's like, okay. And It's okay because I'm a human and I do silly little human things all the fucking time.
Right. Like you said, you could just kind of laugh and be like, oh, I was avoiding my pain yet again. That's,
But I know I was this time instead
yeah,
of doing it unconsciously. And I'm like, and that's an up level, baby.
right. Like at least I'm doing it with awareness and I can make a choice at this point. Before I was just on autopilot, just choosing the same guy or over and over again and wondering, what am I doing wrong?
That was the piece. I remember when I started therapy, the question was, I don't understand. I was like, this is happening and this is happening and this is happening and I don't know why. That's like pre-therapy. And then post-therapy, I was like, oh, this is happening, this is happening, this is happening, and I know exactly why. That's what talk therapy did for me.
Yeah.
But talk therapy didn't help me stop doing those things. It helped me understand that I was doing them. And maybe it helped me understand why I was doing them. And then all of the work I did past therapy, past traditional talk therapy, is what actually helped me move through and make those tangible shifts and changes, right? Because I think with talk therapy, and nothing against it, I think it serves its time and place and it's helpful for certain things. But for me, it wasn't the full picture. It only got me up to a certain point, and then I had to find alternative methods of healing to move to the next level past that awareness and that understanding.
Right. And I actually work with a lot of people that are at that point. They're like,
Yeah.
I've done the therapy. I know what the issue is. Like, but how do I stop eating the cake? How do I stop going back to my ex? How do I stop, biting my nails or whatever? How do I stop feeling crazy all the time because I'm so stressed and I'm in this loop of stress and anxiety and I can't get out of it. That's when I'm like, great, you know what the issue is. You know that you're doing it to yourself. You're taking the responsibility and you want to make a change. You're just not sure how. That's where subconscious rewiring, neural energetic encoding, getting to the root of your emotions or just limiting decisions and limiting beliefs, EFT, clearing emotions, and having tools and different modalities to turn to so that you don't repeat the behavior, so that you can make that change. Like I said, instead of going on my phone, I'm going to meditate because I know that's a good tool or that's something that I really like to do. Or I'm going to stretch for 5 minutes or whatever. And it starts to get easier because you start to feel better and you start to see, oh, I'm so much healthier, wiser, successful. Like I feel so much more confident in myself now that I'm acting in these ways compared
Right.
to how I felt before. And the fear, the shame, the guilt, the scary feelings don't seem so scary anymore. They're clues. They're navigating you through your life and giving you direction. So it's important and actually pretty vital to listen. Don't get discouraged. I always say like you're in that annoying awareness phase where you're like, I'm aware I'm doing it, but I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Just keep going. Like you're almost to the other side. So, but those are just a couple of, and Kambo as well. I know we didn't touch on that too much, but that's
Do you
like
want to just give kind of a brief explanation of what Kambo is?
a Kambo is a frog medicine from the Amazon. It's a secretion from the frog that protects it from predators. And it's full of peptides. And peptides, we have, I think, like 7,000 in our body naturally. But peptides are really, really powerful, good for the healing of the cells. And Kambo is a medicine you actually burn the skin, and the Kambo medicine goes directly onto the open skin. So it goes straight into the lymphatic system. And it clears so much out physically, heavy metals, candida, toxins in the body, like any dis-ease, like if you have viruses or if you're feeling sick, it can clear out many physical ailments, but also energetically, emotionally. It's very good for PTSD, anxiety, trauma. It's very powerful, but it is a purging medicine. So when you sit with it, this stuff protects frogs from animals in the Amazon. So it's very intense. It makes you purge. You fast. So you're not purging, like you're not throwing up food. You fast before and do a dieta and drink a bunch of water. that's what you purge up, or it comes out the back end. This is what tribes would utilize to get really focused and clear for hunting, for initiations, for lots of different purposes. It's a warrior medicine. It's very, very powerful. And the clarity, just the clarity that I feel afterwards is pretty unbeatable. But it's definitely intense. And the first time I ever heard about Kambo, it was like, literally, why would anyone do that? That sounds awful.
And then I went to the facilitator training and got to watch people do it before me. And I was like, I'm signing up for a what now?
I don't want to do this. I'm like, no, it'd be great. You'll be fine. But after you did it, right, you were like, wow, I can do this. Okay, I'm super powerful. Like, this is amazing.
I do scary things. I do scary things. I do scary things all the time. We feel the fear and do it anyway,
That's
baby.
right.
If people want to work with you, if they resonate with what you're sharing, if they're like, wow, that's exactly the point I'm at, and I want to work with Emily, how would one go about doing such a thing?
Instagram is the best way right now, I would say.
To connect.
Yes, to connect with me. Mindset with M underscore is my handle.
I will tag it down below
Hey,
in the about section of the podcast.
there's going to be new things that are up and coming. I'm just still building them right now. So I'll just leave it there.
Beautiful.
But this was so fun. Thank you
Like
for having me.
beyond. It's always hard to cap it at an hour because I feel like we just scratched the beginning of the surface of
Dude.
something and there's just so much more. Like,
Every time.
I love you so much. I'm so grateful. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for saying yes. And thank you for sharing your wisdom. I know that my listeners are probably going to be mind blown by 90% of the things that you just say so casually. So grateful for you and your wisdom.
Thank you. Yeah, this was so fun. Thanks for having me on and shining your light and building your beautiful business and podcast. Like, this is so awesome. I'm so excited.
We're doing it.
Yay!
All right. I love
Love
you.
you.